My client Sarah watched her twin flame pack his bags while telling her, "You're pure light, and I'm just darkness." Within 24 hours, he was gone, out of her life, and she was stunned. Sarah didn't realize that this exact phrase was a predictable signal that would have told her everything about what was happening before even her runner could. When her twin uttered those words, he activated an ancient pattern embedded in almost every twin flame journey. And this is where Sarah fell into the trap most chasers fall into. She tried to make sense of the runner's explanations, analyze their words, or figure out what she did wrong. But after working with thousands of twin flames, I know these dramatic declarations are never actually about what they seem. They're part of a predictable cycle that reveals exactly where your connection is headed and what's really happening beneath the surface. The runners don't consciously choose these dramatic statements. It's more that their ego gets kidnapped by an ancient script, one designed to create the exact separation they're terrified of. Think about it. Your twin flame's conscious mind isn't sitting there crafting elaborate metaphors about storms and darkness. These phrases or arguments come from somewhere deeper. These overly dramatic moments are the moment when your runner's fear-based energy takes control of their actions. What Sarah did next revealed the exact pattern I see in almost every twin flame separation. When her twin started packing, Sarah did what any logical and reasonable person would do who was trying to save a relationship. She tried to reason with him. She explained how his accusations made no sense. She reminded him of their connection. She even offered to work through whatever was triggering him. And the more she tried to use logic, the more elaborate his justifications became. He claimed her friends secretly hated him, and she might be cheating with the guy she met once 6 months ago who bought her old TV. This is when most chasers make their biggest mistake. They try to decode these explanations, searching for the real reason their twin is pulling away. But these dramatic justifications aren't meant to make sense. They're your twin's ego creating an escape route from overwhelming energy. Here's what is actually happening. Your twin flame hits an energetic threshold that triggers their deepest wounds. Their ego scrambles to protect them, but instead of admitting to the fear, it creates increasingly bizarre justifications to create distance. Often, the more elaborate the justification, the longer the separation. If your twin starts to compare themselves to storms or darkness, they're telling you it will probably be a few months. Once you spot this, you'll stop being blindsided by it. There's a precise moment when your twin's ego shifts from normal conversation into full runner mode. Let me show you what this looked like in Sarah's case. Remember when her twin said she was pure light and he was darkness? That poetic language wasn't random. It was the exact moment his ego created what I call the separation script. Understanding this script doesn't just help you predict when they'll run. It can reveal exactly what you need to do next. I've identified 3 specific types of separation scripts that runners use. The not worthy script. The runner uses dramatic self-deprecation, comparing themselves to a problem in your life. This pattern points to their deepest wounds around self-worth. The good news? This script often leads to shorter separations because the healing centers on internal beliefs rather than external circumstances. The logical block script. The runner suddenly focuses on practical barriers, things like age gaps, locations, and life circumstances. This happens when they're fighting the connection by trying to rationalize it away, framing it in a way that makes sense to them, how they understand the world. These separations tend to last longer as the twin works through their resistance to spiritual truth. The silent ghost script. Your twin disappears with minimal explanation, completely ghosting you and going, no contact. None of these scripts are easy, but this might be the most hurtful, but can actually be good news. Why? The energy can shift and balance more quickly without mental barriers because there's no elaborate story for their ego to maintain. This does tend to be the shortest prelude to separation. The more you understand separation and the journey you're on, the less you are at its mercy. And the more you understand the scripts, the more you realize they're not really about your twin at all. The words are just mirrors reflecting back exactly what both of you need to heal. Understanding these scripts changed everything for Sarah. 3 months after her twin ran, she noticed that each script he used pointed directly to her own hidden wounds. The not worthy script revealed her own journey toward self-worth. His logical blocks exposed her fears about divine timing. But there was an even deeper pattern at work, one that explains why runners choose specific scripts at specific moments. The wound cycles activate in an almost predictable order, which we'll look at another time. For now, remember when your runner tells you a story, they're also trying to convince themselves. They're not running from you. They're running from an energy that's trying to heal you both. To them, that's a big, scary ball of energy.